was my cross you bore, so I could live in the freedom you died for. And now my life is yours, and I will sing of your goodness forevermore. Come on, we sing it out. Worthy is your name. Come on. And Jesus, you deserve the praise. Worthy, sing worthy, worthy is your name. And Jesus, and you deserve the praise. Worthy is your all the honor, all the power, all the glory. And now my shame is gone. I stand amazed in your love undeniable. Your grace goes on, and I will sing of your goodness forevermore. Worthy is your name, and Jesus, you deserve the praise. Worthy is your name, and worthy is your name, and Jesus, you deserve the praise. Worthy is your, he deserves it. Worthy is your name, and Jesus, you deserve the praise. Worthy is your name, and worthy is your name, and Jesus, you deserve the praise. Worthy is your name. Oh, yes, you are so good. Jesus was enough. You're enough for me, God. So I lift you up today. So be exalted now in the heavens as your glory fills this place. You alone deserve our praise. You're the name above all names. So be exalted now in the heavens as your glory fills this place. You alone deserve our praise. You're the name is your name. Come on. Jesus, you deserve the praise. Worthy is your name. Worthy is your name. Jesus, you deserve the praise. Worthy, sing worthy, worthy, holy your name. You deserve the praise. Worthy is your name. Worthy is your name. Jesus, you deserve the praise. Worthy is your name. Worthy of all my thanks, Lord, of all my gratitude. 'Cause you know just where I am. And I could sing a billion songs and dance till my feet go numb, spin till I'm empty and void. I can't praise you enough. I could shout till my voice gives way, leave till I have no strength, and lose my breath trying to explain. I can't praise you enough. And if time were to stop, I can never tell it all. Words are few, and this'll have to do. I just wanna thank you. I just wanna thank you. I just wanna thank you. I'm so grateful. Come on, we sing thank you today. That I just wanna thank you. I just wanna thank you. Yeah. I sing it out. And I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. I'm so grateful. And I just want to thank you for all you've done. I just want to, for who you are. I just want to thank you. I'm so grateful. I want to thank you. And I just want to thank you. I just want to, you've been so good to us. I'm so grateful. We're not done singing that song. We're gonna do that again. I think there's a lot of things, and maybe you're new here, so welcome. This isn't usual, but it's fine. We're just gonna roll with it. I think there's stories in this room where God has broken through for some people, or maybe you've been reaching out to God and asking Him to meet you where you're at. And this is your sign that He hears you. He hears you and He loves you and He's for you and He's with you and He's working on your behalf, and He never stops, and He will always go towards your heart because He loves you that much, and He will make things happen on your behalf because of the promises He's given you, that He loves you, that He is with you, that He is for you, that He has everything together for your good, not for your harm, that He has plans for you, that He has a purpose for you, that you will walk in that. He has purpose for your loved ones. He has purpose for your family, for your friends, for your neighbors. So I want to thank God, because I know in my life, maybe in your life, if this is true of you, we're gonna thank God for everything that He has done, because it's so easy to forget to do that after we see what we've wanted to happen. But we're not done doing that. So we're gonna sit in that chorus for just a second until we're done singing it. All right, y'all ready? We're gonna sing I Want to Thank You. So I just want to thank you, Jesus. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you, yeah. I'm so grateful. Are you grateful today? I just want to thank you. Give Him all you got. I just want to thank you. You're free in this room today. I just want to thank you. Oh, I'm so grateful. We'll sing one more time. That I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you. I'm so grateful. And I just want to, for what you've yet to do, I just want to, I'm believing for a miracle. I just want to thank you. I'm so grateful. Yeah. Well, happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Hey, if you're new here, we know it takes a lot of courage to step into a new place for the first time. We love you. You're family to us. So thanks for joining and checking us out today. A couple of things before we get started with our message. Easter is coming up, y'all. Come on, yeah. And so be sure to be inviting all your people, invite your neighbors, your family, your barista if you want to. Go for it. It's going to be a great day. I'm super excited. So before we get started, go ahead and turn around, say hello to a couple of people around you, and we will head into our message from our lead pastor, Petey Kinder.
What's up, everybody? Man, I'm going to tell you right now, I love so much what just happened. Because here's the thing, man. a lot of times when we come in, if you're new, man, we are thrilled that you're here, and you're like, man, we just sang a song again and kind of stopped. No, like they didn't do that first service. That didn't happen first service. That happened now because in the moment, she's like, no, we're not playing church. We didn't come here to just play church. We didn't come here to just like sing the songs that we always sing on repeat and just like end it and go. It's just dance, monkey, dance. No, man, we're here because God has changed our lives. And you need to know, if you're new, the story of so many people in this room is that God has changed our lives. Since we started following Jesus, everything has changed. And so when we come in here, we just thank him with everything we got, right? Is there anybody else in here whose life has been changed by Jesus and you're grateful for that opportunity? Man, that's what's up. Hey, we are thrilled to have you. If you're new, my name's Petey. Would love the chance to get to meet you after service. My wife Brittany and I will hang out in here for a little bit, and then we'll be out in the lobby. I'd love to meet you. We are thrilled to have you. Like Charity said, it is a big deal to come to church for the first time. And we have had new people come into every single service, every single week since we reopened our in-person gatherings about a month ago. And so, man, we're thrilled to have you with us. And church, let's put our hands together and welcome anybody that is here for the first time. That's a big deal. That was a good enough clap. It will suffice. I will not make you do it again. Last service, I made them do it again because they gave like a golf clap. It's like, you glad anybody's here? It's like, come on, man. Hey, I want to touch on two kind of housekeeping things before we jump into the message, and then I got a building update for you, all right? So 2 housekeeping things. One is, we mentioned it last week, peakcityco.com/move is where you can sign up for our move team, all right? This is the team of people that are helping us move from this building to that building, all right? If you didn't know, we have a new church home that we're about to open up at 1710 Dublin Boulevard, and it's going to be dope. It's going to be incredible, but we need people to help us move stuff. Okay? This is a great way to serve. It's a great way to get a sneak peek at the building before it opens. It's also a great way just to build community with other people and get to know some people that call Peak City home. So sign up on the website, peakcityco.com/move. Now, second thing I want to touch on is kind of the tail end of that, right? I said that, if you jump on the move team, that's a great way to get to know some people, to get connected, to build some community. And I want to touch on the same thing I said last week, right? You remember last week I said, that what the pandemic has done to not just our faith community, but really every faith community, is that if you were previously a tight-knit church family, what the pandemic has done has stretched the fabric of our community, right? We're not as tight-knit and connected as we once were, and that's what happens when you don't see people for a year, okay? That's normal. Some people move away. Some people move churches. Some people, just move on. Some new people show up. Like, it's great. But if we're going to get back and rebuild that faith community, rebuild that tight-knit family that we all want to be a part of, yes, you need to get on a serving team. Yes, you should join a group. But I'm telling you, the biggest thing that we can do to build that kind of church family, that tight-knit faith community, is walk across the room and meet somebody that you do not know. All right, I'm telling you, if you could make it a personal goal of yours that every single week when I show up to church, I am not only going to talk to the people that I already know. That kind of an environment where you make it a goal, every week I'm going to meet somebody new. Every week I'm going to go up and say, hey, I don't know you. What's your name? And if you're brand new, everybody's new, right? Just walk up to somebody in the lobby and start meeting, start hanging out, start inviting some people out to lunch, start inviting some people out to coffee. This is how we build community together, all right? So let's work on building that, on being that place where organic community just happens. All right, sound good? You with it? Okay. Building update, you ready? Okay, so like any good building project, there are always things that happen that are unexpected, and I have an unexpected one for you, okay? We have a delay in our building, and we had someone boo first service. It was actually Derek Purvis, our executive pastor. He was booing. I'm like, the whole church was fine with it except for Derek booing. But so there is a large piece of steel, right, that is needed to reinforce the roof above our auditorium. Big deal, right? You don't want the roof collapsing, all right? If you think 2 Sundays ago when the heat didn't work and the church was freezing, if you thought that was a bad Sunday, you wait till you show up to church and the roof collapses. That's an epic bad Sunday. You don't want that happening. The big piece of steel is delayed due to COVID, okay? So we got a little bit of a delay. We got to pivot. We got to adjust our timeline a bit. I just got this update on Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning, so I'm giving it to you hot off the press, okay? So here's the new timeline. We're going to adjust and pivot. It's all good. And honestly, I think God's going to use it for our benefit. I think God knows what he's doing here. But our new last Sunday here, I told you before that our last Sunday here was going to be March 14th, 2 weeks from today. We're going to bump that back a bit. our last Sunday here at Tiffany Square is going to be Easter Sunday. Okay, we are going to celebrate Easter here, and we are still going to do it up big. Okay, Easter is the pinnacle of our faith. It don't matter if we're in a barn, it don't matter if we're in our old building or if we're in a new building. Easter is why we have a faith to begin with. We celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. And so we're going to go big. You're going to invite people. I'm going to invite people. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. April 4th, Easter Sunday, here, last Sunday of the building. The next Sunday, April 11th, we are going to do a sneak peek parking lot party at the new building. Okay? So on April 11th, you show up to the new building, and we're going to have stuff for kids. We're going to have food. We're going to have fun. It's going to be incredible. We're going to blow it up with a big parking lot party, invite the whole community in, get a little sneak peek of the building. And then the next Sunday, April 18th, is our new launch opening Sunday at 1710 Dublin Boulevard. So April 4th, Easter, last Sunday here. April 11th, parking lot party at the new building. April 18th, we open those doors and we welcome in the community. Sound good? All right. Now, the reason I'm excited about that is the more I thought about it, the more I thought, man, that's kind of cool. Now we don't just have like one big day to invite people. We've got 3. There is no excuse now to not invite everybody you know to something going on. If they're out of town on Easter, all right, come the 11th. If they're out of town both weeks, you take too many vacations. But come on the 18th. We got 3 days for you to come and see this thing. It's going to be great. So I believe God's going to use it in a powerful way. So just be ready for it. We'll send out emails and social posts that are reminding everybody of what's happening, and we'll just keep trucking along, right? We always say the movement of Jesus can't be stopped. It don't matter if the construction timeline changes. Nothing can delay or stop the movement of Jesus. Now today, I want to pivot just a little bit in response to that news that we just heard, okay? When we got that news on Tuesday afternoon and then Wednesday morning, I had a little bit of a freak out moment, all right? But not a freak out moment in a bad way. I had a freak out moment in a good way because I thought, you know what, this is crazy. We just had the entire timeline changed on our building. We've got to recommunicate everything. We've got to get all of our ducks in a different row than they were in before, and it's going to take a lot of work. This is a lot of stuff, and it's a big deal. Like, we've been building towards Easter Sunday as the day due. I'm like, this should bother me more than it does. But when it happened, I was like, oh, all right, whatever. We'll move along. We'll figure out another plan, and we'll go with it. And I had this freak out moment where I was like, whoa, what happened? Right? Because I think if you put Petey in this situation 2 years ago, I'd have lost some sleep. I'd have had a pit in my stomach. I would have felt some type of way about some things, right? I would not have handled it well when plans didn't happen according to plan. But I found this past Tuesday, Wednesday, that I think what God has done in me over the past year, and more than just the last year, I think it's, I've been following Jesus for about 18 years, about half my life. For 18 years, I've felt like God has been, leading me and growing me. But just in this past year, I feel like he gave me some muscles and some perspective, some things that I did not have before the last year, especially when it comes to how we handle the storms of this life. How we handle when life throws you a curveball and things don't happen the way that you thought they were going to happen. And not that I've got it mastered or perfected, but I think God's taught me some things. And so this week when we got this news, I felt like in that moment, as I was talking with our team, I felt like God just said, hey, pause the whole Colossians thing for a little bit. We're going verse by verse through Colossians. It's great. Pause that and just open up your journal and share with the people what I've been teaching you. So this is one of those, it's a random Sunday. This has nothing to do with what we've been talking about before. This is just I'm going to show you what God's been showing me. And I believe it's going to help you. I think for some of you, it's going to help you navigate a storm that you're in right now, right? Because I know the truth is that, yeah, we got some building timeline changes, and yeah, that's kind of a struggle, and yeah, that's a little bit of a curveball, yeah, that's a little bit of a storm. We all got storms in life right now that are major curveballs. We all got things that are happening in our lives that are not going according to plan, and we need to figure out how to handle it. And it's the thing about being a follower of Jesus, right? I think that this is one of the major reasons that if you right now wouldn't consider yourself a follower of Jesus, I think you should consider it. And I think you should keep coming back. I think you should keep learning and growing. Because I'm telling you, with Jesus, he gives you the tools. He gives you the perspective that should enable you to navigate any circumstance that life throws your way. And today I want to show you why I believe that. All right? If you have a Bible, get to Luke chapter 8. We're in Luke 8 today. We're going to be starting in verse 22, and that is all the setup I need to give you. Ready? Jacob McCann's ready with me in the front row. Are you guys ready? Much better. Mucho gracias. Here we go. Luke 8, verse 22, it says this. It says, one day, Jesus said to his disciples, let us go over to the other side of the lake. And so they got into a boat and they set out. And as they sailed, he, Jesus, fell asleep. A squall, a big storm came down on the lake so that the boat was being swamped. And all of a sudden, they were in great danger. And so the disciples, they went and they woke him, Jesus, saying, Master, Master, we're going to drown. And he got up and he rebuked the wind and he rebuked the raging waters, and the storm subsided and all was calm. And he turned to the disciples and he said, Where is your faith? He asked his disciples, where is your faith? In fear and amazement, they asked one another, who is this? He commands even the winds and the water, and they obey him. Now, 4 verses, super short, historical account of what happened in the life of Jesus and his disciples. 4 super short verses. But if you really want to understand it, if you want to really unpack it and get what God wants you to get from it, you first got to put yourself in the shoes of the disciples. All right, you got to know what the disciples, because when Jesus said, hey, let's jump in a boat and let's go to the other side of the lake, the disciples, what was happening in their heart, they were jumping for joy. They were about to have bro time with Jesus. They're about to have boat times. They were going to be on a boat together all night long. No one else clawing at him, no one else wanting his attention. Like, you got to know, Jesus had been ministering for a while, and the disciples were following him in this. But Jesus was always focused on the crowds, right? Jesus is ministering to the crowds, and the crowds are clawing for his attention. And so the disciples are thinking, man, I never get any time with this guy. He's always taken up by somebody else. Right? But now all of a sudden they're like, this is it. This is my time to shine. They're planning out the party. This is going to be a night to remember. I mean, they are going to live it up on this boat. They're going to be dealing out poker all night, be playing some poker, smoking some stogies, just loving life. They're going to have good times with Jesus. I mean, this is going to be incredible, right? It's like a sunset cruise with Jesus. This is great. Can you imagine the conversations they were thinking of having? They're like, man, I'm going to ask Jesus all these hard questions. I'm going to get all this insider info. He'll probably do some weird miracle and like pull a big fish out of the water with his finger. I don't know. He'll do something crazy. And they're thinking, man, we'll get pictures for our Instagram. Man, we're going to post it. Everyone's going to wish they were us. This is it, right? They were excited. And so they get on the boat and they're thinking this is going to be great. The plan is in play. And then they get on. The first thing that happens, they push off from shore. And Jesus says, hey, you guys mind? You mind if I take a nap? And they're like, well, we're going to say it's Jesus. We can't say no to Jesus. Like, we've been healing people. We've been loving. Yeah, Jesus, sure, man. Go ahead and take a nap. That's cool, man. That's cool. Party foul. Like, that's a major, like, this is supposed to be boat times. And Jesus is over here resting his eyes. That's what my dad used to always call sleeping. You know, when my dad would get home from work and I'd see him sleeping on the couch and I'd say, Dad, you sleeping? And I'd see him like kind of jar and he'd be like, oh, I'm just resting my eyes, son. Like, resting your eyes is old man speak for I'm sleeping, right? Resting my eyes. Jesus over here resting his eyes, taking a nap. That's unmet expectation number 1, right? But it's all good, right? They're still on a boat, still going to be awesome, right? Still going to have their bro time together. Jesus, maybe he'll wake up at some point. But then the rain starts coming in. Then the storm clouds start rolling in. Then the boat starts shaking. Then the wind starts blowing. Then the sails start ripping. Then the boat starts filling with water. And all of a sudden, they went from what was supposed to be a sunset cruise to their life is now in danger. Their boat's about to sink. They're in the middle of a storm. Nothing is going according to plan at this point. I mean, come on, can you imagine what they're saying at this point? They're out there shoveling buckets of water out of the boat. And you know they had to be so mad at each other. You know someone was like, who's the moron that didn't check the weather app right before we went out the door? Peter, you can't look in front of your face and check the weather app and see that there's a storm coming in. Are you that stupid? You know someone was like, who's the moron that told Jesus he could take a nap? John, was it you? You're always saying yes to him. You always, you're this yes man, always butt kissing. Sure, take a nap, whatever. So mad. They're sitting there shoveling water out of their boat saying, how in the world did we get here? How did we get here? How did we get to what was supposed to be a sunset cruise with Jesus to all of a sudden now Jesus is asleep and we're about to die? How'd we get here? You ever have a how did we get here moment in your life? You ever have that moment where you and your spouse are fighting and you're at odds and, one of y'all slept on the couch the night before? I won't say which one, but one of y'all did. And then you made breakfast for the kids the next morning. You couldn't even look at each other. You're so mad. And you have that moment like, how did we get here? How did we get here? Our marriage started off so strong. Everything was so good. We went on that honeymoon and life was so good. And now, how in the world do we get here? Right, like that job that you're in, that you come home and, man, you hate work. It's a toxic workplace. Your coworkers aren't great. And man, you just feel like it's shady and you just wish you had another job. Like, how did we get here? Because, man, when you started that job, it was awesome. It was so filled with potential. It was so filled with promise. And then now all of a sudden it's about to end. And you're like, how in the world did we get here? This is the school you always wanted to get to, and you prayed that God would help you get in that school, and now all of a sudden, man, you're lonely and you're isolated and you're not doing good in school and you're not making the team that you tried out for. Like, how did we get here? That's an important question to ask in the middle of the storm. Because we're in the middle of the storm, and you ask the question, okay, how did we get here? The answer is probably not what you want to hear, but the answer is Jesus. Jesus is how you got here. Back up a second. Go to Luke 8, verse 22. Again, the very first verse, it says, one day, Jesus said to his disciples. Who said it? Jesus said it. Who said it? Jesus. Jesus said it. Jesus said, hey, let's go over to the other side of the lake. Jesus said it. How'd you get where you are? Jesus. Now that doesn't mean that Jesus caused the storm that you're in. Doesn't mean that he inflicted the pain. Doesn't mean that he, inflicted the suffering you're in. No. But again, think about it. How did you get where you are? Well, it probably started with Jesus. And come on, the storm in your life right now, the financial storm you're in, the uncertainty about what your job future looks like, back up for a second. That job that you got fired from, it started as you saying, Jesus, would you please help me interview well for this job? Jesus, would you please help me convince those employers and trick them into hiring me? And Jesus said, yeah, I'll help you. You prayed for it, and Jesus said yes, and now all of a sudden you're in this job. Well, the way you got here, it started back there. What is now a storm started off as a blessing. It started off as God's providence in your life and God coming through for you. And like that struggle you're in right now with infertility, a very real issue that many people in our church have dealt with. That's a horrible thing to go through. That's a horrible storm to be in. But again, how'd you get there? Well, it's not that Jesus caused it, but I mean, you prayed for the spouse back in the day. You prayed, God, lead me the right person. Lead me the right person. God, please, God, would you bless our marriage? God, would you lead us in the right direction? And Jesus brought you two together, and you felt like it was from God. It was a blessing from God. And now all of a sudden, how you got here is Jesus. What is now a storm oftentimes starts as a blessing, which is why Jesus is acting the way he is during this storm. See, Jesus, you notice he is not freaking out at all. My dude is napping. He's taking a Sunday afternoon power nap. He's chilling. He is fine. The storms are raging. Everything's going crazy, and he's napping because Jesus understands the storm. He understands what's happening. He understands the storm. We don't, though, which is why we freak out. I love it so much how the disciples react when the storm hits. Look at verse 23. The disciples wake him up. I so relate to this. This is like every time life hasn't gone my way. They wake him up, and notice what they said. It said, Master, there's a storm going on, and you might want to check it out. It's hard. Could you help us? No, they didn't say that. The disciples went and woke him, and they said, Master, we could really use your help right now, and I know that you're in control and you've got this, so could you? No, they didn't say that. The disciples went and woke him. They said, Master, we are going to drown. We're dead. It's over. You hear the finality in it? It's not like we might die. It's we are dead. We are for sure dead. They're waking Jesus up and say, Jesus, we love you, but you're dead. You're dead. We're all dead. And man, don't we do the same thing when life doesn't go our way? When curveballs happen, when the storm happens, when life throws you an unexpected, come on, when you get a bad medical diagnosis, you find yourself somehow, some way planning out your funeral 3 days later? Because you're just sure. You're sure. When your marriage hits the rocks and you guys are in a fight, you're thinking, well, how in the world am I going to figure out the dating world? I can't operate a smartphone. How am I going to date anymore? I'm like, chill out, calm down. You don't need to get on Tinder yet. Calm down. It's like, no, but we freak out, right? Like when our job starts to get sideways and we don't know if we're going to have another job, when our finances start, when the stock market goes down, all of a sudden we're like, well, how much money do we have in the bank, dear? 3 months? Gosh. Well, prepare the kids because 3 months we're on the streets. Because there's no way God could ever provide for us. There's no way I'll have a job. It's all over. We're going to drown. We freak out. But Jesus doesn't. Jesus doesn't. Jesus looks at the disciples and he says, it's in verse 23, verse 24. After they woke him and said, we're going to drown, he gets up, he calms the storm, he calms it all down, everything calms down. And then he looks at the disciples and he goes, man, where is your faith? Where's your faith? Jesus isn't freaking out, and he looks at them and he's like, why are you freaking out? Where's your faith? Now, we hear that word faith, and we hear it through a cultural lens. What our culture has defined faith as. And let's cut through the spiritual jargon. Let's just get real for it for a second. We know how our culture and our world has defined the word faith. Faith, from our world's perspective, is really just wishful thinking. Like, if you're a person of faith, I mean, come on, that's cute. You're one of those people that, like, you hold the lottery ticket, like you went and bought a Powerball ticket, and you know what? Hey, you never know, man. If when you die, there's really a heaven and really a hell, and there's really a Jesus, and God's a real thing. Yeah, you won. I mean, somebody's got to win. Might as well be you. It's wishful thinking. Like that's how our world views faith. You are emotionally weak. You're a weak enough person where you need this Powerball ticket in your hand to get by. That's cool, but that's how the world views faith. That's just not what Jesus thinks of when he thinks of faith. See, the New Testament defines faith differently. Look at how the author of Hebrews writes it. He says this is faith. Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for. Faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see. Faith is not wishful thinking. No. Faith is confidence. Faith is assurance. When Jesus says, disciples, you're freaking out. Where is your faith? Where is your confidence? Where is your assurance? Why are you going crazy right now? Would you calm down? Where is your confidence? Where is your faith? See, what Jesus wants for you, what he died for you to have, what he created for you to have, is the kind of faith, the kind of confidence that you could stand firm in the midst of any storm. That's what God wants for you. I mean, doesn't that sound good? Doesn't it sound incredible that, like, no matter what life throws at you, no matter the junk you have to go through, no matter what storm comes your way, wouldn't it be amazing if you could just stand tall, stand firm, confident, assured, unshaken? Oh my gosh, that's like, we would kill for that. That sounds incredible. Right? Like that's what Jesus wants you to have. And that's what you can have in Jesus. Because the more you follow Jesus, the more you understand that the reason that he was not freaked out, the reason he was napping as this storm hit, is that Jesus understood the storm. He understood what was happening. The disciples didn't understand the storm, primarily because the disciples did not understand the destination. That's the reason they're freaking out. See, the disciples did not understand the storm at all. They were thrown off by it because they didn't really understand the destination. They thought Jesus was taking them to the other side of the lake. And geographically, that might be where he was taking them, but he actually had a different destination in mind for them. I don't know if you're like me. My wife always makes fun of me in this. I'm not directionally challenged. I just don't pay attention when I drive all that much. Now, that's going to make me sound like an irresponsible person and not a good driver. And you should. No, here's the thing. I pay attention enough to keep me alive. So, like, I'm all 10 and 2. I'm watching the road in front of me. I've got my periph locked in. I know what's happening. But you got to know, when I drive, I'm not, like, looking at the world around me. I'm not observing things. She says I'm not observant. Like, early on in our marriage, she said, hey, you know that big red barn that's on the road leading to our house? I'm like, what big red barn? She's like, that big red barn. It's right by our house. It's like on the road to our house. Huge red barn. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. She's like, you are a crazy person. And she said, well, the barn burned down today. I was like, well, now I'm definitely not going to see it. I'm for sure not going to see it now. The barn's gone. I think she's lying. I don't think it was ever there to begin with. But when I'm driving, I'm thinking, like, is there anyone with me in that? Like, when I drive, like, my brain is moving as fast as the car. I'm thinking life, I'm thinking ministry, I'm thinking church, I'm thinking family, I'm thinking faith, I'm thinking. And so, like, sometimes that gets me in trouble. Like, last summer, I was going to pick up Noah. Noah's around there somewhere. I was going to pick up Noah from the Denver airport. And I had it in my GPS. I was driving, heading there. And I left a little bit early, too, so I get there in time. And I was zoned out, man. I was thinking about church. I was planning. I was, thinking through stuff. I was listening to a podcast. I was listening to some sermon. Go. Noah texted me. He's like, hey, man, just got here. I'm at baggage claim. I'll be out in just a couple minutes. I'm like, great, that's awesome. Then I realized I'm still driving, and I left like 45 minutes early to get there on time. I should be parked at the airport right now. And so I look at my GPS, and I am in Boulder. I'm like, this is somehow, some way. I thought I was going one destination. I was going somewhere else, right? I was heading the wrong destination. See, the disciples, they got so scared by the storm because they thought the destination was the other side of the lake, and Jesus just had something more in mind for them. And I think the reason that you and I get so freaked out and so scared and so nervous in the midst of the storms of our lives is that we have the wrong destination in mind. We think, see, if you asked us, what's the destination God's leading you to? Where's he taking you? Well, like, what's the destination of your life? I think most of us think our destination is our happiness. Right? Like the life you've always wanted, the kids you've always wanted, those kids growing up and acting like you wanted them to act, the marriage you've always wanted, the house you've always wanted, the money you've always wanted to make, the vacations you've always wanted. We think that the destination where God's taking us is our happiness. And so no wonder when a storm hits, we freak out. Because if the destination is our happiness, then every storm you face is a threat. Every storm you face is a threat to your happiness. It's the thing that stands in the way of you and your destination. So no wonder we freak out. We're going to drown! The storm is a threat. But I'm telling you, that's because we got the wrong destination in mind. The destination where God is taking you, where God is taking me, he is not taking us to a destination of our happiness. No, it's the wrong destination. Our destination is not our happiness. It is our holiness. It is being more like Jesus. That's the destination. The destination is you being redeemed to the person, to the man or woman that you were originally created to be in the first place. The destination is not your happiness. The destination is your holiness. Look at how the author of Hebrews writes it just a chapter before. He says this, he says, for by one sacrifice he has made perfect forever those who are being made holy. That's a destination verse. For by one sacrifice, when Jesus stretched his arms out on the cross and he died for you, he died so you could be forgiven. He died so that there's nothing that anyone could ever do to take the love of God away from you. You are made perfect forever because of what Jesus did on the cross. Do you know that? There is nothing you could ever do to make God stop loving you. There's nothing you could ever do to make him love you more. There's nothing you could ever do to make him love you less. It is set. You're made perfect forever. And you are being made holy. You are being sharpened. You are being transformed. You are being, like your rough edges are getting smoothed out. He died to make you perfect. Those who are being made holy. Your destination is not your happiness, it's your holiness. And oh my gosh, when you understand that, when you understand the destination, now you understand the storm. Right? Because if the destination is not my happiness, it's my holiness, well now the storm's not a threat. The storm is the tool. The storm is the tool. The storm is the thing that God uses to make you more like his son Jesus. The storm is no longer a threat. It is a tool for you to be sharpened. Look at what it did for the disciples, right? They freak out. The storm comes, they freak out. Jesus calms it down. And then he uses it as a teachable moment, as a tool. And at the end of it, they say, who is this man? He commands the winds and the waters, and they obey him. And all of a sudden, the disciples learn the power of God, The storm was the tool that taught them the power of God. The storm was the tool that taught them the love of God. The storm was the tool that taught them there's nothing you could ever go through that God's ever going to leave your side. The storm was the tool that taught them to depend on God when the storm comes their way. They would not have learned it if they hadn't been for the storm. I'm telling you, man, you cannot learn. You cannot become holy. You cannot become the person that God has created you to be without going through a storm. It's impossible. I'm telling you, Jesus is the principal of the school of hard knocks. Everything about him is, you're going to learn the hard way. Because you and I are stubborn enough that that's what we need. Our sinful, rebellious hearts, our hardened minds, man, there's sometimes we can learn from the wisdom of others. Most of the time, we got to go through the school of hard knocks. Most of the time, you got to face a storm if you want to be sharpened and made into the person that you were always created to be. The storm is the tool. That's why James would say it. I love how James says it. James is the brother of Jesus. He says, consider it pure joy. Woo! That's awesome. Whenever you face trials of many kinds. Ooh. You hear how crazy that sounds? Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. You ain't going to become the person that God wants you to be without going through a storm. It's just part of it. The storm is the tool. The destination is not your happiness, it's your holiness. And oh my goodness, when you see that, when you understand the destination and now you understand the storm, you know what you can do in the middle of a storm now? You can take a deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath. Oh man. When you see the destination and you know what the storm is, oh man, you got your legs under you now. You can stand firm. You can have assurance. You can have peace. You can stand confident, full of faith in the middle of that storm because you know what's happening. You know the destination. You know the storm. And oh man, when you can just, in the middle of a storm, when you can breathe a little and look around, oh, that's such a beautiful thing. It's so empowering, right? I'm a big scary movie fan. Any other scary movie fans in the house? The freaks out there? All right, I'm with you. My wife hates them, so we never watch them. But if she's ever out hanging out with her friends or she's ever out of town, I'm on a scary movie marathon. I just watch them all. I love them. I also love haunted houses, big haunted house guy. My favorite thing, my little tip to you on haunted houses is never go through a haunted house just once, go through it twice, okay? You go through a haunted house twice, and it's amazing. The first time, it will scare you. You're going to pee your pants, right? The second time, though, is laughable. Because you know what's happening, right? Like, you know, yeah, chainsaw guy's going to come chase me, and yeah, okay, and yeah, you know, three-headed lady's going to come out and scare me, yeah. And you just know, like, you know what's happening, right? So you can look around, and man, when you look around at a haunted house, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. You realize that this is not scary. It's a bunch of teenagers who, like, you know, are on the sidelines eating their peanut butter and jelly that their mama packed them. They're getting paid $5 an hour to scare you. You know, it's not scary at all. It's amazing. It's super fun, right? When you're in a storm, when you can just breathe and you can look around, oh, that's such a beautiful thing. I'm telling you, if the disciples had looked around, if they had stopped freaking out, stopped going crazy, and just paused for a second and remembered that this is all part of it, and they could just look around a little bit, they would have seen the most important part of the whole deal. They would have looked around and remembered who is in the boat with them. Who's in the boat? Jesus is in the boat. I mean, if you can get your wits about you in the middle of a storm and look around and then remember, oh, yeah. He's here. Jesus is in the boat. And I know you might think, well, yeah, but Petey, they didn't know that Jesus could control the storm yet. Right? Like, they didn't know. That happened at the end of the story. Like, have some sympathy for them. Don't be so hard on them. They didn't know that Jesus could control the storm. Get out of here for a second, all right? Back up a chapter. Because if you go to Luke 7, they saw Jesus heal someone long distance. This dude at the beginning of chapter 7 came and said, hey, my daughter's sick, but she's in the next town over. I didn't bring her because I knew that you could heal her if I just told you about it. And he's like, love it. A Zoom healing, remote work culture. I will remote heal. And he did it. Just back up a chapter, because this is the same Jesus that in that same chapter went to a widow who had just lost her son. Her son had died. This is a widow. She got nobody. And her son is dead. He's still in the house. Cold, lifeless body. Blood is not running through his veins. Heart is not pumping. And Jesus says, young boy, wake up. And all of a sudden, dun, 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 Blood starts running back through his veins. His body warms up and he sits up. It brought a little boy back to life. That was a chapter before. You back up one more chapter. You back up another chapter. This is when Jesus healed a man who was born with a deformed hand. And all of a sudden, he just puts his hands on it and it's back to normal like you and me. This is the same Jesus that healed a man with leprosy, a man who was born with leprosy. And incurable. Incurable. And Jesus says, be healed, and you're healed. This is the same Jesus. Just back up a chapter. He healed a paralyzed man, guy who had been unable to walk for his entire life. All of a sudden, he's up doing the workout of the day. He's on that CrossFit life. He's just running around like no big deal. Just back up a chapter. But before that, Jesus was healing so many people that the whole town decided, we're just going to bring out all of our sick people. We're just going to bring them all out. Because if he's healing all these people, maybe he can heal my uncle. Maybe he can heal my cousin. Maybe he can heal me. Sure. I mean, you back up a chapter. This is the same Jesus sitting in the boat with them that had carried them through, and they had seen so much. I'm telling you, if you're a follower of Jesus right now, I think that some of us just need to back up a chapter. If you're in a storm right now, and you don't know how it's going to end, you got to back up a chapter. Because if you back up a chapter, this is the same Jesus that comforted you in the midst of your grief. When you lost that loved one and you didn't know how you're going to make it, Jesus showed up and he comforted you. Back up a chapter. This is the same Jesus that rescued your marriage when you thought it was dead and gone. Just back up a chapter. This is the same Jesus that when you didn't know how the bills were going to get paid, he provided a job for you. He provided an opportunity for you. This is the same, you got to back up a chapter, man. This is the same Jesus that has always cared for you. He's always pulled you through. When I got that building timeline changed this week, you know what I did? I started backing up a chapter. Because this is the same Jesus that has led us through a pandemic. And not just like led us through it. We've been baptizing people in bathtubs in the middle of a pandemic. Come on, you just got to back up a chapter. This is the same Jesus that said, yeah, I know it's a pandemic. I know people are hoarding their resources, but I'm going to put the generosity on your people's hearts, and I'm going to just compel them and inspire them to give, and y'all are going to get your first permanent home in the middle of a pandemic. That's insane. You just got to back up a chapter. This is the same Jesus that has led us through time and time again. So, man, I'm telling you, when you're in the storm, when you're in the middle of it and you don't know how it's going to end, you just got to remember, man, the destination is my holiness, not my happiness. And so this storm that I'm in, it is not a threat to me. It is the tool that God is going to use to make me more like his son, Jesus. And at the end of the day, I got no reason to fear. Jesus is in the boat with me. There's not a thing you could go through right now that Jesus is not with you right here, right now. And so I think Jesus is just inviting you to have more confidence and assurance. I think he's inviting you to faith, right? When I was writing this message, I thought about my papa. My papa died. I didn't get choked up on that first service. My papa died about 10 years ago or so. Died of cancer, and he and I were never super close. He actually lived, I'll tell you the full story about him one day. He'll definitely make it into a sermon. But he lived most of his years, about 78 years of his life, apart from God. Wanted nothing to do with him. Made a mess of his life. Made a mess of family and everything. And just in the last few years of his life, he gave his life to Christ and started following him and accepted Jesus. Yeah, it's awesome. It's great. And man, I look forward to seeing him one day. But man, when I was writing this message, I couldn't help but think of my papa. Because my papa would always come over to my mom and dad's house, and they had this big front porch. And they'd sit out. I mean, you could just see like there's a little pond in front of the house, and the big sky in front. It's like out in the rolling hills of Kentucky, right? Out in the middle of nowhere. And my papa would just go out there and sit with his cup of coffee and just kind of chill on the front porch. And whether it was hot, whether it was cold, whether it was rainy, whatever, he was just always out there hanging on our front porch with a cup of coffee. And even if a storm was coming in, right? Even if you could see the rain clouds coming in, he would just sit out there with his cup of coffee. And I'd go out and say, hey, Papa, what's up, man? He'd say, oh, nothing. Storm's rolling in. No big deal. Storm's rolling in. I'm like, yeah, sure is. And he'd just sit there and drink his coffee. And I just had that picture in my mind as I was processing this, because I think that's what Jesus is inviting you to, is that kind of life where when the storms roll in, the one who's in the boat with you, the one who loves you and who died for you and who's with you every second of every day, he's sitting on the front porch, drinking his coffee, and he's inviting you to just pull up a chair next to him and not freak out, Not go worst case scenario, not lose your mind, not lose sleep, not be filled with anxiety, not be filled with fear. No. Pull up a chair next to him. And he'd probably look at you and he'd look out. Storm's rolling in. Yep, sure is. And you could just sit there with confidence, knowing that's going to be okay. He's got you. He's going to carry you through it. That's the kind of confident faith. That's the kind of relationship that Jesus wants to have with you. And I want to give you a chance just to maybe surrender a situation to God. I think that sometimes in moments like these, everybody's dealing with something different. I mean, I'm looking around the room. I know some of y'all's stories in here and what you're going through. Everybody's got a different situation that they need to trust him with, a storm that they're in where you just need to pull up a chair next to him, say, yep, storm's rolling in. It's all right. It's okay. He's with you. He's going to use it. And so I want you to stand to your feet with me. And I want to spend some time just praying for everything that could be going on among this room and everybody that's watching with us online right now. And just maybe surrender whatever it is that you're afraid of right now, whatever storm you're in, just surrender it to God. Jesus, we love you. Jesus, we come before you and we acknowledge and recognize right now that any storm we could be going through pales in comparison to the storm you went through on our behalf. God, you were nailed to a cross, suffering the most brutal death we could ever imagine physically. But even more so, Jesus, you went through the storm spiritually. When you hung on the cross, all of our sin, the sins of the entire world, past, present, and future, you took them on and you took them to hell and back. You went to hell and back on our behalf. You weathered that storm. And so, Jesus, there is nothing that we could be going through in this room right now that you don't understand and sympathize with. There's no storm in our lives that you couldn't calm down. But God, we know you are using these storms for our good. And so, God, I pray right now for any marriages that are struggling in the room. God, I pray right now that if there's a couple in the room, if there's a couple watching online, that you would maybe have them just grab each other's hand right now, just as a sign of we're going to get through this storm together. We're going to get through this storm because of you, Jesus. God, I pray for anybody in the room that's struggling with anxiety, depression, or loneliness. God, I pray that you'd help them to see that this storm that they're in is not going to last forever. You're going to deliver them from this. God, I pray for anybody in the room that has recently lost their job, doesn't know where their next paycheck's coming from. God, I pray that you would meet them in that storm. Show them that you're a provider, you're a sustainer. God, I pray for our church right now, that the storm of uncertainty that we're in, that you would just calm us all down and help us know that you're going to use it for your good. God, I pray for anybody in the room that's struggling with addiction. I pray for anybody in the room that's struggling with self-harm. I pray for anybody that is just weak right now, that you'd help them to see that you are here, you are with them, and that you love them, that you're for them. And Jesus, we know you're going to meet us here. You always do. And so it's in the powerful name of Jesus we pray these things. There is nothing that can be done apart from the power of Jesus. And so we pray it in his name today. Amen. Amen, guys. Let's sing together. Let's sing together. Let's trust Jesus. Come on.
We're gonna sing that we're standing in the promise. Come on. I'm standing in the promise, surrounded by goodness, and you have overwhelmed us. Hallelujah. I'm standing in your promise, surrounded by your goodness, and you're just getting started. couple things. If you have recently made a decision for Christ and you're looking into baptism as your next step, or maybe you want to join a team here or know some more information, outside to your left, there's a place called an info bar, and there are people there willing to answer any questions